if I were Rachel, I would just take the loss here and move on.
All right, well, moving on to Vanderpump Rules, which I know is one that you know, a story you know very well. So let me just give some background on it to the viewers. So Raquel Leviss has done this sit-down interview with Bethenny Frankel. It's been 3 parts. I've watched all of it probably twice at this point. Have you watched it at all?
I have not, but I have read the reports about it.
Okay. All right. You got to watch it. You got to sit down and watch it. It's pretty good, pretty entertaining. But anyway, so she's done this 3-part interview with Bethenny, and she is doubling down on claims that her former co-star Chyna Shea punched her upon finding out about the news of her affair with Tom Sandoval. Raquel, who was a bridesmaid in Shea's wedding to Brock Davies in August 2022, alleged in March that Shea punched her in the face backstage at Watch What Happens Live, when she learned that Raquel and Tom were having an affair. Shea, however, denied assaulting Leviss and claimed that her long nails even prevented her from properly forming a fist. Leviss subsequently served Shea with a temporary restraining order, which she ultimately dropped after the reunion later that March. Now, on the recent episode of this Bethenny podcast, Raquel insisted, Chyna did physically assault me that night, and I have a permanent scar on my eyebrow. At that moment, I thought I deserved it. That's why I just stood there and let it happen. She pushed me as hard as she could against a brick wall. The back of my head hit the wall pretty hard, and then she socked me in the eye. So lots of questions for you on this one. I guess my first one is, if Chyna still denies this, can she press charges for defamation against Raquel? I don't know if she would even want to do that, but is that something that she could do?
If Chyna did want to pursue a defamation claim, she could. It's really a question for Chyna. She may just want to, ride off into the sunset. She won at that restraining order hearing. If I were Rachel, I would just take the loss here and move on.
Absolutely. I think I agree with you. She also claims that Tom Sandoval is aware of the incident because he overheard Shea comment about it to Ariana. If that is the case, would Tom and Ariana need to be questioned regarding this matter?
Yes. If this case proceeded to court, the other cast members that had information about the alleged incident would be called as witnesses. And folks who were friends of the show that weren't cast members. So we were prepared to present our case and call witnesses, whether it was Ariana, Tom, or anyone else, to prove Chyna's side of the story.
Interesting. And then Leviss also claimed she didn't feel safe after seeing Shea added a fist emoji to an Instagram post caption that read, "Always got your back, fist emoji, hashtag Team Ariana." Generally speaking, if the alleged incident didn't occur, is it possible to request a restraining order over a post that's not directed towards them?
Well, as we saw, people can request a restraining order for any reason. And, the first hearing is ex parte, so it's with a judge, and the judge doesn't hear both sides. But for a permanent restraining order to be granted, there has to be an imminent and credible threat of physical harm. And, if someone could get a restraining order for a post on social media, probably everyone in this country would have a restraining order against them. So this is not what restraining orders are for. They're for actual victims of violence. And one of the reasons why Chyna and her whole team were so upset at Rachel's actions in this case.
Interesting. That makes sense. I mean, a punch emoji is not the same as a punch in real life.
Yeah.
All right. One other thing I wanted to tackle about Raquel's sit down with Bethenny is she addressed Andy Cohen's comments that she was heavily medicated during the season 10 reunion. So Bethenny said, "I saw there was a pill bottle thrown at the reunion. Somebody said, 'Do you want a Xanax?' I have a Xanax," and that was sort of made light of. And sometimes I think about that. This is it's a non-traditional workplace, but I would imagine there are even some workplace rules in a strip club. It's still a workplace. And I thought, a pill bottle's being thrown. Wow, okay. So that was Frankel's comments to Raquel about the whole reunion situation and when Tom Schwartz took out the Xanax bottle. She continued saying, "I've read that Andy said to, I think, Variety, that he thought you were medicated, insinuating that you were on prescription drugs. How did that make you feel?" So Raquel responded and said, "I mean, I am medicated. I've been on antidepressants for several years now, but to say that I have been heavily medicated because my behavior was erratic or I didn't have emotions is not okay in my eyes. I feel like that violates some sort of HIPAA law, and to make assumptions like that, it's damaging to a person." So I just wanted to kind of tackle these comments. Do you think that there's any validity in her saying that he possibly violated HIPAA here?
No, and I feel like I'm always giving Rachel legal advice or correcting her legal arguments, but HIPAA only applies to healthcare providers Andy Cohen, as far as I know, is not a healthcare provider, so HIPAA doesn't apply to him. Second, HIPAA, if there is a violation by an actual doctor, it may subject that provider to discipline, but it's not actionable. You can't file a civil lawsuit and get damages for a HIPAA violation against a non-provider.
For more news content and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.